The Joe Zone, episode 15.
14 with Waldo Rivieria as your host.
It's 15.
This is not a new world. It is simply an extension of what began in the old one. It has patterned itself after every dictator who has ever planted a ripping imprint of food on the face of history since the beginning of time. It has refinements, technological advancements, and a more sophisticated approach to the destruction of human freedom. But like every one of the superstates that preceded it, it has one iron rule. Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace. Any state, any entity, any ideology that fails to recognize the worth, the dignity, the rights of man, that state is obsolete. Welcome to episode 14 of the Joe Zone.
This is episode 15. This is Waldo Rivieria reporting. I'm going to play the beginning of episode 14 because it has significance to episode 15, which we are filming today. It is November 20th, weeks after the election. No actual winner yet. A lot of speculation. But let's move forward and into the Joe Zone. Here we go. Pay attention.
November the 7th. It's 3.5, 4 days since the election. Still voting
Wrong.
declared. But old, sleepy, sniffy Joe decided to make an address to the public today.
And that's why we're making this video today, because he made an address today, too, which you'll see right after we watch this first minute or so.
I want you guys to pay attention, because at 47 seconds in is where it starts, then at 57 seconds, and then just about every minute or so. Also, pay attention on how he takes his mask off in the beginning, and watch what happens at the end. Okay? And Kama Camellia is with him, too. We're going to do a video all about her. So here we go. I'll comment as we go along. Good evening, fellow Americans. We don't have a final declaration of victory yet, but the numbers tell us it's clear. Tell us a clear and convincing story. We're going to win this race. Just look at what has happened since yesterday. 24 hours. We were behind in Georgia. Now we're ahead.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Overnight, all those votes just mysteriously appeared.
Behind Pennsylvania. And we are.
Again, mysteriously appearing votes.
Now we're ahead. But, there it is, first one. Arizona.
And here we go.
So our message to our governors and to all of our nation's state and local leaders is simple. President-elect Biden and I will make sure you have the resources and support you need to save lives and help get our economy back on track. And we will also make sure that our federal, state, local, and tribal authorities are working closely together so we can tackle these challenges as effectively as possible. Because when it comes to this pandemic and the economic recovery, we are not Democrats or Republicans. We are Americans.
You're a man.
And we will be there for one another. That's the kind of leadership the American people need and deserve. And it's the kind of leadership President-elect Biden and I will provide. And it is now my great honor to introduce President-elect Joe Biden.
Hello, folks. Good afternoon. Thanks for your patience. The Vice President-elect and I, as was pointed out, have just concluded a video conference with the executive leadership of the National Governors Conference. They included Governor Cuomo, New York Governor Hutchinson, Governor Hogan, Governor Whitmer, Governor Ivey, Governor Polis, and Governor Baker, Governor Lujan Grisham, Governor Herbert, and Governor Carney. And it was really a worthwhile undertaking. You know, they've had to make some really tough calls during this unprecedented crisis. And we're incredibly grateful.
So we have seen him take off his mask, cough in his hand, touch his mouth, and go up by his eyes with his hand already. Apparently he's not paying attention. Let's see how many times he stumbles in this speaking event. And here we go.
Says that we, in fact, our team, this transition team, our team, the senator and I, have in fact are the likely winners. Until she does that, we don't have access to all the information.
So you're not really in the office of president-elect, then, is that right?
We're not able to deal with everything from testing to guidance to the all-important issue of vaccine distribution, and even more importantly, vaccination plan to actually get vaccinations.
What?
We haven't been able to get into Operation Warp Speed.
Warp Speed's going along fine.
We will take what we've learned today and build it into our planning. The country is still in a crisis, and there's a dark winter still ahead.
Yeah.
Yesterday, America reached another tragic milestone. 250,000 deaths. 250,000 people died.
Okay, more people die from heart disease every year in America than that, which can be easily prevented. Nobody yells about that. It's sad that people have died, yes, but it happens. And there's nothing you are going to be able to do about it, or Trump could have done about it. And coming up here with your vaccines, 300 and some odd million. How many people are really going to take the vaccine? Do you really think all people in the United States are going to take it? Number one. Number two, the companies have already said they aren't going to have all those vaccines ready immediately. They're going to have a couple of 100,000 maybe by the end of the year, which are going to go to frontline workers and some of the elderly. So I'm not too worried about how you're going to distribute a vaccine that isn't even going to be ready to get out to the general public and isn't going to be able to be distributed because it's not going to be made overnight. It's going to take months and months. And it doesn't matter who's in the office, it still takes time. And what if it doesn't work? What if there's side effects we haven't found out yet? Then what, Mr. Joe Zone? Okay, we're going to go back to you talking again. Let's see what you got here, buddy.
Due to COVID-19. And there are empty chairs and dining room.
There are every day people die from preventable illnesses.
With loved ones, family, friends who laughed and talked together. To those families and friends.
Okay, here he goes with his losing his train of thought and other issues. You'll clearly hear it. Here we go. Governors, what party they're with, where they are in the country. Here we go.
And you'll find your purpose as we're going to find our purpose for our nation as a nation now.
Yeah, we are a nation.
I promise you that. And I promise you that we'll work together. There's a great meeting we had today. All the governors, no matter their political party, whether they're from
what party is that?
The country they represented, no matter their political philosophy, shared a strong and abiding sense of a common purpose. There was a real desire for a real partnership between the states and the federal government. Each of the governors emphasized that we might be Democrats and Republicans, but we're all Americans first. They congratulated us heartily for our win. What really pleased me was that the governors made clear that beating COVID-19 is going to require all of us working together as one country. Kamala and I agree. We were deeply impressed with how much consensus there was, how to move forward among the governors. What we need to do now is how we need to do it. How are we going to do it? In what coordinated way can it be done? We discussed a number of critical ways we can work together and unify around a national approach to controlling COVID-19. First, delivering economic relief to the cities, states, and tribal communities. The lost revenue from COVID and the cost of COVID recovery is devastating to state and local budgets. As governors, as all of them indicated, we've got to come together. The federal government has to deliver this relief sooner rather than later.
Release or relief?
Flexibility for the states to meet devastating to state and local budgets.
You're right, so...
as governors, as all of them indicated.
Release?
We've got to come together. The federal government has to deliver this relief sooner rather than later.
Now, for somebody who wants to defund the police, this statement doesn't really jive now, does it, Mr. Chameleon?
Need access to affordable health care?
We have
all that's needed during this pandemic.
Here we go.
States and communities shouldn't have to lay off teachers, cops, firefighters, cut vital services for families and businesses. The second thing there was uniform agreement on, delivering a safe and equitable and free vaccine.
Okay, President Trump has already got a plan in place for the military to distribute the vaccine, and it's already free. So what are you talking about, Joe?
The governors all acknowledge that this will be a massive undertaking, one of the greatest operational challenges we will have faced as a nation. One statistic that was raised by the governors, it took 8 months to provide 100 million COVID tests.
And it's going to take a year to come up with all the vaccines you think you're going to need, because we're not the only country in the world that needs it. So that's the show for right now, folks. I'm going to leave you with this woman man here. And we'll have another show later on. Good night. Waldo Rivieria reporting you live. All lives matter.